Awesome. So we can begin. Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a great start to your year. Here at Xtrm, we've once again improved our product and security, and usability with our new approval policies. And we can go ahead and do some introductions, and we'll jump right into it.
Hi, I'm Kyle Sloat. I am the VP of Sales and Partnerships here at Xtrm. It's great to meet y'all. I'll be your go-to contact if you have any follow-up questions after the call, would like assistance setting up your approval policies. I know many people use us through one of our partner integrations, so you may not be super familiar with the Xtrm platform. So happy to get on a call and help. We'll also, everybody that signed up will receive a recording of the webinar, so you can reference that as well.
Yeah, and my name is Lev Gamali. I'm the product manager here at Xtrm. So if you guys have any product-related questions about integration or getting up and started, you guys can feel free to reach out to me as well. And please don't be shy. You guys can always reach out to us. We'll be getting back to you guys quickly and promptly. So
awesome. So let's start by talking about why we added these approval policies. I'm sure many of you guys are already aware, especially if you're in finance, but it's imperative for any financial system that you use to create layers of control and security. Especially with larger companies or as your company grows, it's important to create a web of security measures that guard against malicious activity, while not hindering the day-to-day use of the actual users. Xtrm's new approval policy enables you to achieve this, create these policies, add redundancy, whether your primary concern is protecting against fraudulent third parties or even potentially malicious elements within your own company. Xtrm gives you the functionality to replicate any of the financial control policies your company has in place or to create new ones.
thank you, Kyle. So what have we added to the product? So the new approval policies provide our users with the ability to force a secondary approval for any financial action performed within Xtrm. That being, setting transfer limits and thresholds, enforcing a secondary approval for transfers out of Xtrm, a secondary approval for, creating wallets, a secondary approval for linking banks and cards, as well as a secondary approval for moving funds, wallet to wallet within the system itself. We can force a secondary approval once again on anything that's performing a financial function within Xtrm, and we can go ahead and demo that for you guys now. So let me pull up my screen here. So within the Xtrm platform, the approvals tab can be found at the upper right-hand side of your screen in the home screen. So to click on the approvals tab, just click View here. In the approvals tab, by default, you will see the pending approvals that have been requested for this account. So say, for example, this is the master account user, and Joe Schmo is trying to create an approval, is trying to create a wallet or is trying to create a transfer. This is where you will be able to approve or reject those requests made by Joe Schmo, requesting from this account. So to create an approval policy, you click on the View Approval Policies right here. And you can click on the Create Approval Policy tab in the upper left-hand corner. In the actual Approval Policy tab, you will see the active and deactivated. You can toggle between the active and deactivated approvals. You can also toggle through all the approval types, being, create wallet, link bank for transfer, link debit card for bank transfer, or transfer to bank, as well as a wallet-to-wallet transfer. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just jump into creating an approval policy. It's a very straightforward process. We will demonstrate the two most common use cases for you guys today. So that being, creating a wallet as well as transferring to bank. So for the first use case, we're going to go create wallet. First, you'll select the approval type, then you'll select the entity to which you are applying this approval policy. So in this example, we're going to be using Tester2 APAC. So here you will give the policy a name. And you will select the users that can approve the wallet creation. So anybody that is toggled on yes here is going to be able to approve the creation of a wallet for the specific entity. So once you've set up the preferences as you like and selected all the approvers that you need, you can click Create Policy at the bottom of the page. You can see that Create Policy has been created successfully. You can see the new policy that we just created right here. We can always edit or deactivate the policy as well on the right-hand side. So going on here, we're going to create an approval policy for a bank transfer out of the platform. So here again, you will select the approval type first, then you'll select the entity to which you are going to apply this approval policy and for secondary approvals. Then you'll select a currency as well as a wallet to which you're going to apply this policy. Once again, the bank transfer policy will be per wallet. So you can make as many of them as you'd like if you need to create a policy for each of the wallets that you guys have allocated in your Xtrm account. So here again, you'll give the policy a name, test policy for transfer to bank, for example. And then you can move on to setting the limit thresholds at the bottom here. So any bank transfer that falls within the range of a level 1 transfer will require the approval of a level 1 approver. So first what we'll do is we'll set the thresholds here from $0 to $1,000, from $1,000 to $2,000, and from $2,000 to $5,000. What this means is anybody that's in a level 1 approver here will be able to approve a transfer that is falling within the range from $0 to $1,000. If someone is trying to make a request to transfer out, a level 2, something that falls within the level 2 range, so a transfer from $1,000 to $2,000, they will need to have the approval of a level 2 approver. And then moving on, the level 3 is the most stringent approval. So from $2,000 to $5,000, you will need to, have the approval of a level 3 approver. In this case, it'll only be one individual. Another thing that you can do is you can actually set the bottom threshold to, $500, for example, and no approval will be required up to $500 in transfer. And then you can also set the maximum transfer amount here. So the $5,000 will be the maximum amount that is, able to be transferred from this specific wallet. If you'd like, you can always change that upper limit to, match whatever your needs are. And then you can go ahead and click Create Policy at the bottom of the page. Once again, once you've seen this policy created, you can see the thresholds, the users that can actually approve the level 1, the level 2, and the level 3 approval. You can always, once again, deactivate this approval policy if you choose to, and you can easily edit it down the line as well. So another thing is that we wanted to show you is what happens when someone actually requests an approval from you. So when someone requests an approval from you, you will receive an email that will notify you of the approval request. It will be in this format. So left test, you have a new request from Leo Test account to approve a creation of a new wallet. To review and approve, please click here to log in. So what happens when you click on this tab is you will be navigated to your account, and in the approvals tab, you will be able to approve, the said request. So here I could just click approve if I need to. If I choose to, I can always click reject, and you can always, filter them by pending, approved, or rejected status. So, in addition to these additional secondary approvals, that we've created to, make additional control and security within our system, we also have the notion of the organization and the entities tab within our platform. So using the organization tab and the entities tab, you can actually...
Please put your screen share.
Yeah.
Oh, apologies. Good call.
And just briefly, if you wouldn't mind just showing where it directs you again for the approval policies.
Good call. So apologies there, guys. So once again, just to recap slightly, once you receive the approval request, and you see that email that goes to your email address, you will also be able to click on the approval tab and go ahead and approve and, reject these approvals. If you want, you can also filter them by pending, approved, and rejected. If you click on the filter by drag down in the upper right-hand corner, once again, you guys, you can always choose to approve these, whenever you'd like. There's not a downtime where these will expire. So essentially, it is up to the approver, what they choose to do with that request. So once again, to reiterate slightly, we're going to go navigate to the organizational tab, and in the organization tab, we will be able to create additional entities and additional users to create, more hierarchy within Xtrm. Once again, in Xtrm, there are a variety of ways that you can silo, responsibilities and roles, and to create an entity.
Highlight a few things about this. So this can be particularly beneficial if you guys might have multiple teams, for example, coming into the Xtrm platform, and you want to prevent accidental cross-contamination of wallets or something like that. As Lev mentioned, it's also very helpful for establishing hierarchy as well as separating roles. So while it's not 100% about financial controls like the approval policies are, it's another layer of security that you can add by clearly delineating whose roles are what, as well as for assigning people to various entities. See, we have a question in the chat.
Let me take a look. One moment.
It's not necessarily specific to Xtrm choice. It's really, for any company account that does have a desire to have these initial approvals added. So, for example, if you were only a beneficiary and you were receiving direct payments and you had approval policy in place, rather than it going direct, it would actually trigger an approval. So you could use it for choice or direct. It kind of takes away some of the benefits of receiving the payment direct if you add an approval step, but it's certainly possible.
Yeah, of course. So Xtrm is very configurable, and we can, really match any use case in terms of security and enterprise structure. So if you guys, if there's any kind of specific edge case, I'm sure we could match it as, we have many, many functionalities with controlling the users and separating all of the roles and responsibilities, as we will show you guys in a second here with the users as well. So moving on here with the entities, creating an additional entity is extremely easy. All you need to give the entity is a name, a description if you'd like, and then you can optionally select this as the primary entity. There will only be one primary entity overseeing the company account, and you can always change who the primary entity is down the line. So once you've created the additional entity, we'll just click Save, and you'll see that the entity details have been saved and the entity has been added to your account. If you'd like, you can always toggle amongst your entities here. You can invite a new user to a specific entity by clicking on Invite New User here on the right-hand side, or you can click on the Users tab to toggle through your users. You can invite a new user up here as well, and we'll go ahead and do so and show you guys how that goes. So for adding an additional user to your account, all you need to add is a first name and a last name for that user, as well as a login email address. The email address, it's important to point out, will need to have the same domain as the master admin's email address, as this is the unique identifier for an individual in our system. Here we will use a generic email address. And then here you can set the user role. So we have three options here. So the controller is actually able to control multiple entities and the users within them. A manager is able to control a single entity and the users within them. And a standard user is only able to, perform the actions and the tasks that they are permitted to do. They are not managing additional users. So for this example, we're going to go ahead and create a manager user. We'll select the entity to which this manager user is tied. So we'll just use tester2 APAC again. And then we can set the system access level at the bottom of the page. You can optionally add a description here, such as, overseeing marketing, distribution, for example. And then again, the system access level. So if you give the user a system access level of full, they will have complete capabilities and able to, perform any tasks in the platform as long as they don't have an approval policy preventing them from doing so. If you set the system access level to custom, is what we recommend, you'll be able to toggle all the controls for the specific user when you're configuring them. So if we click continue here, this will trigger an email that will, a validation email essentially to that email address, as well as, let us further configure this user. So here you'll be able to toggle which entity this manager can manage. Once again, a manager can only be in charge of one specific entity, so they will be tied to a single one. Here we can toggle on or off all of their payment options. So, their ability to fund wallets, move funds, send funds, transfer funds, anything in that nature, link banks, we can always turn off those capabilities if we want to. You can also change their edit options, toggle those on or off, toggle on or off their view options, as well as which wallets they have access to. So once you have, all the settings allocated as you prefer, you can go ahead and click done at the bottom of the page. And you will see that that user has been added to your organizational tab in the entities. So you can see the invitation successfully sent and activation email alert sent. So once again, you'll see this user, populated in your entity. If you ever need to navigate amongst your entities, you can just go ahead and click through them, and all the pertinent users will be in the drag down below.
There's another question in chat. It says, so admin add the new users, or do new user requests to be added? So new users are invited to the platform by the existing users and master admin.
Yeah, that's a great question. So yeah, exactly. In essence, that's pretty much the approval policies webinar here, guys. There isn't that much more context. As far as the approval policies go, the approval policies are a pretty straightforward process, to set up as well as manage. So if you guys have any other questions about the platform or, any utility of it, please feel free to shoot. And we can go ahead and go to the closing statement here. Let's see if there are any questions. Sorry, take a look at the chat.
While we wait for anybody that might have questions in the chat, I can really kind of quickly give a rundown example of where you might use some of these, right? So for example, maybe a larger company that has multiple entities using Xtrm. Maybe they have a team in North America distributing SPIFs payments, as well as in the Eurozone. They might have a few users on each team. Maybe, for example, a marketing person that just needs to have view access. They might have a few financial people, one financial person that's a little bit lower on the totem pole that might be doing the more day-to-day transactions, and then a controller type user. So you could set up each of those users assigned to their respective entity and completely silo them. You could give additional permissions to the higher level user, and give them things like approval policies set up for linking the bank or creating new wallets. This can restrict the lower level user from doing anything that you don't want them to do, essentially. And so you can use in combination the entities, the custom access, and the approval policies to kind of create that web. Your marketing person, for example, might just only be able to view things, or create requests that can be approved by the lower level finance person, whereas above a certain threshold, such as for the transfer to bank, it has to go up to that kind of controller level financial person. So it's really as complex as you guys do want to make it. So happy, again, to help with any setup that you might have. Looks like we did have a few more questions, so we could go ahead and answer those. Great. What happens when the admin leaves the company and doesn't cancel their access? So when the admin leaves the company, essentially, we will need to transfer that admin status to another user at the company. And that's just done by submitting a ticket to our support, and they'll connect with you directly. Alternatively, we definitely recommend if somebody's leaving the company, they transfer their master admin status prior to leaving. That can be done directly by the master administrator in the platform. Another question, can different wallets have different options, or does the master account setup dictate all the wallet setups? Their approval policies are tied to a specific wallet. So you could have separate approval policies for each of your wallets. The big benefit of that is, as you mentioned, if you have one where you want to receive direct payments and one where you might want to have a secondary approval, you can also have that be the case for just maybe you have different programs where the relevant payment size thresholds are going to be different, right? So you want to create an approval policy that's specific for each wallet that program is tied to.
Thank you, Kyle.
Awesome. Did anybody else have any additional questions?
I think that's it.
Great.
Well, just for, a closing statement, once again, here's our contact information. You guys just met Kyle and myself. We'd be glad to help you guys out with any questions that you guys may have or setting up the product and, getting acclimated with the approval policies. So once again, if you guys do have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. We're at short reach.
Yeah, and please also keep an eye out for the email with the recording of today's webinar.
Yeah, thank you guys for your time, and we appreciate it. Appreciate you guys signing up and joining our webinar. Thank you.
Have a good one, y'all.